wild frontier.
Yes.
Aw.
So the men helped her into a chair, and Rosa began to tell her story. She told them of her husband's acts. She said that he had just killed a traveler and the guy's young son.
Aw.
She said her husband had been luring people to the rest stop for years and then killing them. She knew there were at least 14, but she couldn't really remember how many. But she told them this has been happening for years, and she's been terrified. Her husband would invite, so they had a bunch of little cabins. Her husband would invite, like when he decided who he was going to kill, he would invite them into their cabin for dinner and then brutally murder them and steal all their stuff. On this particular night where Rosa ran away, they weren't actually planning on murdering this man because he had a young son.
Mm-hmm.
But they invited him over for dinner, and they were killed because of something that Rosa and Charles's son had said at dinner. So the man at dinner asked if there were many Indians around, and I hate fucking calling them that, but that's what they called them. Whatever.
Yeah. Some tribes in the area that I grew up in were like, oh, no, we like that name. Like, that's fine. That's what we call ourselves. So,
I don't know that.
So I don't know. Some people might be like, you shouldn't ask me, obviously, but like, I've been told by some natives that I know that they don't mind the term.
Yeah. Well, so this is what Rosa says, is that the man is like, hey, are there a lot of Indians around? Mm-hmm. And the young son responds, can't you smell the one Papa put under the floor?
Oh
so God. Charles is like, oh, fuck. So he kills this man and the son so they wouldn't tell anyone.
Ew, don't put him in the floor.
Then he locks his wife up, and then he drinks until he passes out. And this is when Rosa runs to town. But he locked her up, so she said she had to climb through the chimney to escape.
What?
I'm assuming it's not like the chimneys we have today that are really high. But so she climbs through the chimney. So before I finish his story, this begins the story. This brings us to guy number 2, Clay Allison. So before I connect their two stories, I want to introduce you to Clay. Behind door number 1, Bachelor Clay. Clay was a full-time cattle rancher, full-time cattle broker, part-time gunfighter.
If I have to pick between Charles and Clay, so far Clay's winning.
Oh, Clay, yeah.
Bachelor number 1?
Clay's kind of a badass. Clay had a reputation for violence, and he had survived a good handful of one-on-one knife fights, some with law enforcement, because it's Wild West, and that's how we do. He was also the suspect in a bunch of vigilante jail break-ins and lynchings. So he would break into jails and break criminals out and then lynch them in the street.
Oh, wow.
He was like a regular vigilante.
Dexter of the West.
Yes. Once while drunk, so no judgments. We've all been here. He rode his horse around town fully naked, wearing only a smile and his gun belt.
Have we all been there, Caitlin?
You've never ridden around town naked with just nothing but a smile and your gun on your hip?
Not on my horse.
on donkey?
On bike. Naked bike rides.
That would actually be really freeing.
Yeah, I used to live on one of the naked bike ride routes because they do them in the Pacific Northwest a lot.
That's a real thing?
Yeah, you could hear them coming and you look out the window and it's just a bunch of naked people riding by on a bike.
I'm into that. I would do that.
Let's start it. Just me and you. We get arrested.
No. So not only was he a danger to others, but mostly criminals, he was also a danger to himself once he accidentally shot himself in the foot.
Oh, no.
Just a fun fact. He was part of he was part of the Confederate Army in the Civil War. He was held captive for a while before returning home. And this is when he really became violent and full of outbursts. Once after the war, he got into a confrontation with a man. They got into a little scuffle, and this ended in the guy knocking over a vase that belonged to his mom. It was a vase that his dad had given his mom for an anniversary. So Clay was pissed and shot and killed the man with a rifle.
Well, he shouldn't have knocked over the clay vase.
Clearly.
Right?
Then he moved to New Mexico, where he got worse, but it looks like horse. So it looks like I wrote where he got horse. But in the fall of 1870, so now we're looping back to where we stopped on Charles's story. So Clay's in the bar with Davy Crockett. Rosa comes in, hears the story from the wife, blah, blah, blah. After Rosa tells the story, she tells more people. So Charles is arrested, and he's held in the local jail. Clay is not having it. So Clay does what Clay does, and he gathers a mob. They break into the jail.
I want to just be able to gather a mob.
Yes. They gather a mob, break into the jail, and break Charles out, and then hang him in the street while they cheer. The rumor is that, and that this is what 2 articles said, but it was just like, even at the time, they said it was a rumor. But the rumor was that Clay then cut off Charles's head, carried it to a nearby town, and displayed it on a stick for everyone to see.
Well,
after this, in 1878, Clay got into so now Charles is dead and his story's over. Obviously, his head's on a stick. In 1878, Clay got into a confrontation with Comanches during the Texas Indian War in Wheeler County, Texas. He came across a home being held hostage by Indians. He reached out to the U.S. Cavalry, but they were like, nah, bro, we can't help.
Nah, bro.
So Clay did what he does again. He gathered a mob and he carried out a rescue party. They killed most of the Indians and the rest fled. Clay overall actually killed way more men than Charles. I could literally go on and on about his killings, but they're mostly like this. They're in saloons. Some of them are over dumb shit. Most of them had it coming, and that's kind of what Clay was known for, like really being a vigilante and killing people who had it coming. He even had a confrontation with Wyatt Earp in 1877. Oh. This part isn't funny. I don't mean to laugh, but his death shockingly didn't come from a fight. On July 3rd, 1887...
Well, it sounds like it's one of those things where you expect him to die in a fight and then he dies of something stupid.
It's and that's the only reason it's quote unquote funny. So on July 3rd, 1887, Clay was hauling a wagon full of supplies when a sack of grain was like falling out of the wagon. So he tried to kind of reach down and pick it up, but it was clear he fell out of the wagon, but the wagon kept going and ran him over, breaking his neck and killing him.
Oh, geez.
He was 45. So it's like a horrible, tragic death.
But like, also, what a way to go after surviving so many knife fights. You die because your own carriage runs you over.
Yeah.
Great.
And his grave reads, "He never killed a man that did not need killing." And that is the story, the small story of Charles with the story of Clay, Allison.
Those are great little stories.
Yeah.
I still pick Clay as my bachelor. Charles seems too scary. He murdered people because he wanted their money. Clay was trying to get some good deeds done.
Yeah, so they're very, very different men, and their stories only intertwine because Clay was like a vigilante and happened to come across Charles. But like literally he would break into fucking jail just to break criminals out and then
just to kill them again.
Just to hang them. Yeah.
Yeah, but the criminals were probably like, yay, it's someone oh no.
Jokes. Yeah, right. They'd probably be like, leave us in jail, please. Because he definitely had a reputation. Everyone knew what he did.
Like, oh no, Clay's here.
That's the craziest thing about the Wild West is it's like, oh, there goes Clay. He kills people who deserve it. And the cop waves to him like...
And they're like, oh, have some fun murdering bad guys.
Like, no one gives a fuck.
Did I talk on the podcast about going to Old Tucson?
I don't think so.
I don't think I did either. So a week before the corona stuff got bad, so now this is quite a few weeks ago, I went to somewhere called Old Tucson. And
as opposed to New Tucson.
No, it's true. So Old Tucson is a half hour out of the town, and it's a replica of what Tucson looked like in the Wild West. Like the layout of the mini town is the same of what it was in the Wild West for Tucson. And it's also a like set for movies. And so people come from Hollywood and film stuff there all the time. Like, for example, Tombstone was filmed there. Little House on the Prairie was filmed there. All sorts of different like Wild West movies with John Wayne, like all sorts of stuff.
That's cool.
Were filmed there. So we went there. It's $25 per person to get in, which seems like a lot. But then when you get in, they have shows every 30 minutes about like Wild West stuff. And sometimes they're fun reenactments you get to watch, like reenactment gunfights. And then sometimes they're like lectures and stuff. So we went to a lecture called Women of the West. And they just talked for 30 minutes about like famous ladies of the Wild West.
That's cool.
But we got to do a few fun things there. So you can ride in a stagecoach that is exactly like how the stagecoaches were in the Wild West in Arizona. And you get to ride with the horses, like, and go around, like, and look at some different things. I got to ride a longhorn cow.
The picture is amazing.
I'll have to post it on Instagram. Now, I do want to give a little disclaimer that it's not like the circus where you're riding a really sad elephant and you're like exploiting them. Like these longhorns, they like live on a really fun ranch in with the two people who are their full-time caregivers, and you can like pay to ride them or whatever. And they don't live at the establishment. They like have a fun place where they get to roam and stuff. But yeah, it was really cool. And it was just a good time. And so that was kind of inspiring for my Wild West story, too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So I'll share the picture of me riding a longhorn. It was really scary, actually. But my longhorn.
Because those things are giant.
Yeah, and its name was Whopper. I had to get on a small ladder to get up on it, on the saddle.
Do you have a joke?
Yes. You ready for it?
Yes.
So why did the cowboy shoot the artist?
Why?
Because he thought he was going to draw.
That's good.
Thanks.
I also have a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Why did the cowboy adopt a wiener dog?
Why?
He wanted to get along, little doggy.
Oh, long little dog, get along. That's cute.
Thank you.
That was a fun little episode.
Yeah, I like that theme. That was cool. It was different.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of the old timey kind of. My eyes are just like, I'm like, what do I do? Just got shot at by finger guns.
I want to bring finger guns back.
I don't think they went away.
Oh, they did.
Well, when you do them, I feel like they did.
I was watching Seinfeld this morning, and it's when Elaine is dating Putty.
Is that guy from the Bee Movie?
Yes. And Elaine's boyfriend goes to like high five Jerry, and Jerry like kind of freaks out, and then he tells Elaine like, no one high fives at like blah blah blah, and I'm like, fuck you, high fives are the coolest thing.
Well, maybe then they weren't, and now they're better. I don't know.
I love high fives.
Well, we always make kids do them. Like, give a high five. I'm like, why is this the thing about babies? Like, if they can high five, they're God's gift to humans. I mean, they're already God's gift to humans because they're cute little babies, but like.
This was fun. I got a piece, so bye.
Alrighty, guys. Please leave us a review if you have not.
Yes.
Those really help us with visibility.
Yes.
It's really important, especially in isolation times.
Yes.
If you want to join our Patreon,
Yes.
until the end of April, you will get a small gift package
Yes.
when you join, no matter what dollar amount
Yes.
you join at. And then I will join
Correct.
an auction and I will sell Longhorns
Correct.
in Texas. And then we will be really
Correct.
great because I will make a ton of money.
Correct.
And then to the highest bidder, which is Caitlin peeing, goodbye.
I'm not gonna lie, that was not as fast as you thought it was.
Oh, really?
You'd be a terrible auctioneer. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye, Illuminati.
Bye, kids.
Bye.